We had the benefit of studying Medicare claims data that gives us a real-world population of beneficiaries, patients that are treated in the US. And we had the luxury of being able to look at two different populations within the Medicare database. The first population we looked at were patients who were treated with both drug-eluting and drug-coated balloons, drug-eluting stents, drug-coated balloons. And we followed mortality out through a median of around 389 days, 600 days in total follow-up. And we compared them to people who were treated with uncoated balloons and bare metal stents. And we found in adjusted analyses there were no difference in survival through 600 days between the two patient groups. That was published in JAMA Cardiology a few weeks ago, and we leveraged our first analysis to perform a second analysis using a little bit more of a historic data patient population, those with, who were treated with just drug-eluting stents between the years of 2012 and 2015. Now, the reason we focused on that population was that we were able to provide a much longer period of follow-up, which was the main limitation from our first analysis. So that paper was published in JACC in conjunction with the Vascular Leaders Forum yesterday. And what we were able to demonstrate was among patients who were treated with a drug-eluting stent for peripheral arterial disease, we found that there was no difference in survival over a median period of 2 years and out to 4.1 years compared to those with a bare metal stent implantation for peripheral arterial disease. I think that we talk about limitations of randomized trial and real-world data where the treatment effect isn't randomized. But on the other hand, in this case, there's a lot of equipoise in terms of who we treat with drug-coated and non-drug-coated devices. And sometimes it's more on the operator's preference for a device or the reimbursement in the hospital. So most of the bias that we would be worried about in a normal analysis like this may not be as easily applicable to here, which gives us reliability and a little bit more confidence that we really are able to give a good understanding of survival and any undetectable difference between device groups. It's a really tough situation to be in right now, and the biggest question that remains is we have to work with the randomized trial data that we have available to try to answer this question, and that's why we're doing the patient-level meta-analysis at VIVA. The real question, though, is even if we get to the patient level, do we still have enough data? Again, it's hard sometimes to provide the number of patients to look at mortality and at subgroups at mortality when these trials weren't designed to be powered for mortality. They were designed to look at patency for the most part, or short-term outcomes. And so whether the data is out there is the first question. And I think the other part that's come up a lot is that these studies didn't get designed to look at mortality. So once they met their efficacy endpoint, it wasn't their job to chase them down. And whether we can now look at those mortalities for the patients who were enrolled, but then were lost to follow-up and add them back into this analysis will be really important. I think in the meantime, we know these devices work very well. We saw rapid adoption when they came to the US market. And I think with the data that we've presented from the Medicare data set, some of the data presented from the Vascular Quality Initiative by Dr. Mark Schermerhorn, and what we know just about how much risk there are for both death and reintervention in this patient population, that the risk-benefit discussion and using these devices in patients who understand the risks will be how we move forward right now.